What's going on, everybody? This is Token Gaijin here with your scrub play of the day here in Scrubcraft, and this is Heart of the Swarm, the new StarCraft game. I'm bringing you a 3v3 with my boy Stash Burnside and my boy Deathwraith, and me and my boy's gonna be against Eltron, Kirosiris, and G. Clark. Now, I will say this, I have been enjoying Heart of the Swarm a lot. I do have a couple of complaints, you'll probably hear them. We're going to be trying to get an actual webcam show out soon, a weekly webisode that will just be the three of us or more people once we start getting some more people. Probably try to keep it at, 3 to 5 in that range of people. And basically the whole point of this show will be a webcam show in which we talk about and discuss multiplayer games, things going on, games we play. So if there are any topics you want us to discuss, let us know. One of the biggest topics and games we're going to be discussing is Heart of the Swarm, since all three of us play it. We'll also be talking about Guild Wars 2 and SWTOR because we are trying to bring you out those guides and things like that on the channel. But biggest thing is Heart of the Swarm is new. I do have a lot of fun with it. A lot of great changes to it, especially Protoss. I feel like Protoss got a ton of amazing units in this game. So did Terran, Zerg. They got those lovely swarm hosts and some good upgrades, and Vipers are okay, but I will say this, I do have a couple of qualms with the Zerg. I feel like for a game that is their expansion, I mean, it's Heart of the Swarm, the Zerg one, I feel like we kind of got underhanded on all the generous new items. I feel like Zerg are kind of underwhelming, and it's kind of disappointing. I do miss Vipers being an earlier unit. I don't understand really why they're tier 3. No one really uses them anymore now because of it, unless someone goes like way colo heavy. And other than that, I really feel like we didn't really get anything new. I feel like it's my game. There's a ton of units that are already programmed in. Give me something else. I'd love something else. Why can't I have something else? Give me the lurker or anything, really. Oh, I just want new units, and I feel like I only got 2. I feel a little gypped. But other than that, I can say this: my strategy opening up into this game is a little bit different with Zerg. I am more partial to the last game to 2 strategies, which are basically Roach Hydra and going for Roaches and then getting out of Hydrogen as fast as possible. Also, Ling Muta or Ling Hydra is also a really good one. Ling Hydra is also really good in this game. It does have the vulnerability that your army is completely light, but with Hydra's speed upgrade, you do ensure that you have a really fast army. And if you get a lot of creep out, you can be kind of ridiculous in that aspect. But one of the things I really like to do in this game now as a build is going to be Roach into Infestation Pit. And the reason why I like to get that Infestation Pit down and do Roaches as well is because Roaches are relatively bulky, but the Infestation Pit can build either Swarm Hosts or Infestors, and both units are amazing. You always want to be making sure you're building one or the other, generally as a Zerg, because Infestors can hit those Marines pretty hard, and Swarm Hosts bring a very, very nice dynamic to the Zerg. We finally get a Siege unit! We finally do it. We get a Siege unit, which is really, really nice, and Swarmlings are really, really nice. I do kind of hate that they lost their air attack, but they do still have a powerful ground punch, and it is nice that those little Swarmlings, or whatever they're really called, aren't actually army units. They're just kind of, little, basically an ability, and they come out and they can die, and you don't have to worry about it rebuilding them. They just rebuild automatically, which is so damn nice. But even though they are really awesome, I think that either them or the Viper need an upgrade, because I feel like Zerg, yet again, like I was talking about, got a little shafted. But you're going to see me overdroning in this game. Let's get back to this game. I'm going to be overdroning. Deathwraith usually likes to go for a quick Oracle rush. Reason being is Oracle is a new unit. It's basically like the caster of the skies, is able to do some crazy shit. One of the best things that the Oracle can do is it basically has a Void Prism ability, and this Void Prism ability gives it the kind of a Void Ray-like attack, but it's a lot stronger, and you can decimate a mineral line, which is kind of why another upgrade kit, you can actually build Spore Crawlers off of the spawning pool, which is really, really nice. You used to only be able to build Spine Crawlers and have to get an Evo Chamber out for Spore Crawlers. And reason being is you need to always be watching for Oracles. Oracles can just ruin your day, so always be mindful of that. I'm not doing that, even though we're against double toss in this game. The bigger thing I'm more concerned about is getting Stalker rushed. One of the very common things you still see is a massive stalkers. Also, tempests are more concerning. So I'm just going to go over with a very standard roach opener and then transition as we scout. Since we haven't scouted anything ridiculous like just going full tempests, I don't have to really plan for it. And tempests are amazing units. Super range, new Protoss air units. Protoss basically rule the sky now, and it kind of goes along with what their kind of bio is that their air force is the most feared thing, and it truly is. Protoss getting a ton of sky aerial upgrades. Their air force is really powerful, and you really don't see many Cowls and Immortals as much anymore. I mean, you still see them a lot. I don't want to say you don't see them as much, but I mean, air force from the Protoss is a lot more powerful now, so you are going to see a lot more into the air category because of that. Now we are going to be seeing a lot of droning up. Stash Burnside is just getting down his secondary base, but as you can see, our enemies are just kind of staying into their first, really not expanding. And even though Deathwraith is not expanding, I think he's planning to expand now. Yeah, he's sending that probe down now to get ready. Doesn't matter. The thing that you have to remember is that me and Stash are going to be off of 2-base play, which means our econ is going to be a little bit better. Eltron is finally getting some units out, some stalkers to poke out and see what's going on. And he's going to be taking this from Stash, so he's taken this Zelnaga tower. We do see that happen, so we know stalkers are coming, and probably some Marine Marauder backup, which is actually coming. We did scout that the Terran was going to do some Rax play. As you can see, all Rax play, which, you know, they still do. And as you can see, I'm getting my roaches ready. I moved them out over here just in case, but didn't have to prematurely do that. Got a lot of Zealot support here, so I'm going to keep pumping out roaches. That's exactly what I want to keep doing. As you can see, I'm a little supply blocked right now. You don't want to do that, but I do have overlords on the way, and I'm taking up my roaches to have that enhanced movement. And I'm going to continually keep droning up, getting a second Evo down here because I'm going to need the gas and minerals to be able to keep pumping this out. Coming over here to Stash Burnside, as you can see, he's got double Evo down in his natural, but he overdrones, so he can comfortably do it. And he's going for a quick third as well because he figures that he has such a good economy right now. He just has to worry about pumping out roaches. He doesn't really need to worry too much about anything else but larva and pumping out units. And we're about to get our hit. As you can see, pushing out. They do a little hit here, and we're going to come and meet them. Now you see, getting those Zealots out, they're going to do butt scoots to try and draw us in. We notice that the Terran doing some great micro right here, but I'm going to come out and I'm going to meet these stalkers from the Protoss because the Protoss's micro is not very good. They're going to retreat. The Mothership Core is still here, but we're going to take that proxy down, meaning that the Protoss is not going to be able to resupply. Very important you do that. Now, as you can see, we're going to start engaging. Roaches, of course, really bulky. And there we go. Charge lots coming in to hit the Marines. And I'm going to take out all of the Protoss's units because I want to get those out of the way, and then I can just concentrate on getting that ass damage. But I don't even need to do it because, awesomely enough, those Zealots were easily enough to handle it, and we don't have any anti-air to deal with this Mothership Core, so we're kind of retreating, waiting for some stalkers in Deathwraith's base to come out and poke them. And he's going to run away when we see Zealots. So I'm going to continue to drone up, and we've successfully fended off that attack, which I didn't think we were going to be able to do, but we did pretty comfortably. Now, if we did have the other Protoss bring his forces in, we probably would have been in a bit more trouble, but I didn't really see him. And as you can see, while this was happening, Deathwraith was actually hitting the orange toss with DTs. Like I said before, DTs are amazing still. Actually, I don't know if I said it before, so I'm going to say it now. Dark Templar, the Dark Spire, and DTs themselves are actually cheaper than they used to be in Wings of Liberty. So DT is very common, and that's exactly why you saw Deathwraith just getting out Zealots and Charge Lots. He was saving all of his gas for DTs, and he was able to actually sneak in and do some pot shots. And one of the things we've actually noticed in Heart of the Swarm is that Protoss have a lot of really pesky ways in which they can easily just kind of get some map control and poke out and just kind of fuck your day up. They have the ability to just kind of hit your supply line. And the fact that he's able to do that, he's able to rush and kill those supply lines out really fast, he's really kind of giving us the economic advantage. And Protoss have the Oracle, and they also have DTs that are now cheaper, so we're actually kind of changing our dynamic up. It used to be me or Stash going out and getting out that early rush and hitting that econ. But since we don't have to do it anymore, we don't have to do the rush to hit the econ, we can let Deathwraith do it, because he has, you know, DTs and oracles. It's a little bit easier for him to do it. We can concentrate on just basing up, getting out military, and just getting ready to push out, because when Zerg get those bases down, that's when they become menacing. Now, Stash should have had a little bit more forces out in the beginning. He even said so himself. He's just like, well, I'm just trying to basing up right now. I should have had some more, but, you know, we haven't played in a long time. We don't get to play as much as usual since I moved, and he just transitioned hard with his econ out. As you can see, he's going for a Mega Muta Ball, and Death Wraith now getting dropped. He's getting hit because he hit the toss with his DTs. He's still hitting them, hitting the secondary base he's building, but his base just got mauled. And he's got this base down here at the high grade that snuck out, but he's still got to worry about this drop over here. And as you can see, the Terran moving out, but we've successfully stopped him. He's going to leave now, I think. Yeah, he's going over to Stash instead of us. I was moving my roaches. I didn't know where he was going at first, so I moved my roaches back thinking he was going to go poke my base, but as you can see, he doubled back, and he's now going to go hit Stash Burnside, trying to get that that drop on him and cripple 2 players, because Death Wraith is a little bit more dead in the water now that he has been hit. He only has the 1 base right now, and he's got no probes. But we're going to be able to deal with this because it's basically base trading. We traded 1 Protoss. We crippled this Protoss who's got to rebuild, and now Death Wraith, who crippled him, has been crippled. And we're about to just easily annihilate that army. As you can see, my roaches on the ground, just too much for him to handle. And the Muta's able to easily mop up those medevacs and assists. He's got too many Mutas for just that little ball of Marines to deal with. And Stash is going to be able to just keep on getting that econ up. As you can see, my second base is nearly completely saturated. I'm going for my 3rd now. Zerg need to constantly be expanding, and Stash Burnside has already over-econ me. He's now in the position where he can just keep pumping out units, which is exactly what he's going to do. He is pumping out those Mutas and making that hit, and as you can see, he has over-muted the orange. Even though yellow does kind of have a little troop lead right now, Stash doesn't have to worry about him too much since this econ has already been kind of hit. And as you can see, Stash going for this cannon. He's going to cripple orange even more, make sure they can't use his econ up, and he's going to keep on producing. I'm going to keep on getting up roaches. And another thing I'm going to be getting down is starting doing my creep highway. And with 2 Zerg, creep highway is even more beneficial now that we have the ability to get out Hydralisks with speed upgrades, which is exactly what we're going to start doing usually. But I don't really need to use that. I just want to get a creep highway down so we get some scouting out. I'm going to go for infestors. Reason being is we saw those Marines coming down, and Marines are really, really annoying Marine Marauder. So I want to be able to counter that, and fungal growths with infestors are a nice way to do so. And I really don't have much anti-air, but since I have a ton from Stash Burnside with his Mutas, and he can easily transition into Corruptors, I don't have to worry about it too much. I'm going to comfortably go into Infestor. And that's kind of the call you have to make in this game, is you want infestors or swarm hosts, and what you're more comfortable using. Swarm hosts are an amazing unit, but I'm not that good with them. To be honest, I'm a lot better with infestors, and I find that fungals are just more beneficial to me. Plus, I can get out those infested Terrans, and with roaches, I have a burrowed army, which I can just burrow and move out as fast as possibly. I don't even know what I'm saying. As fast as I possibly can. There we go. Yeah, a little stutter right there. And actually, Stash Burnside has a different thing. When he goes ground, usually when we play 2v2s, and I hope to be getting a 2v2 cast out here soon, you'll see that he actually goes for Swarm Hosts. He is actually menacing with Swarm Hosts. He likes to do Swarm Host Roach. And usually when we do 2v2s, I do Ling, Baneling. He does Swarmling Host, and I can go into Hydras or Mutas or whatever. As you can see, Yellow trying to get some action in here. He's going to be poking out my base, but he is now way too overextended. And we're going to be coming in right now, not giving a fuck. Death Wraith does not have many forces. He's losing most of his stalkers, but we don't have to worry about it because I have too many roaches for him to contend with. As you can see, we're just kind of moving in, trying to get my infestors in. A little misclicking on the infestors part, but we're going to be able to get, I believe I got a fungal down. There we go, fungal down. I misclicked a lot with my fungals, unfortunately, but we're able to get those fungals down, and I'm getting more roaches on the way. And as you can see, I've got a train of roach and infestors down, and we're going to be ready to hit that hit, but really not too much that Terran can do because Stash Burnside is still hitting, and that is going to be the GG. Now, I do know that this game really didn't show you too much different in Heart of the Swarm than you would have seen in Wings of Liberty. We didn't use any of the new units, really, but you did get to see the Mothership Core, which was that thing earlier that was kind of hovering around. I don't know if there's still one out somewhere. There's got to be a Mothership Core. There's always a Mothership Core. That is the Mothership. I don't see a Mothership Core. Okay. So apparently there was not a Mothership Core that I can see at the end game. Usually I can. I don't know why I'm stuttering so much. I do apologize. I'm a little out of practice from all this moving from casting, but I will get back into the swing of things. Usually the Mothership Core is a big one. It transforms into the Mothership if you can tech up into it, get that fleet beacon out. But the biggest thing about the Mothership Core is it does gives you a lot of nice early protection, and you do get early mass recall, which is nice. And it does have like a time bubble ability, which slows down the attack of opponents. And it's kind of like the Marauder's concussive shell, which is exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, Protoss got so many damn tools this game. It's kind of like we're playing the Protoss expansion, but Mothership Cores are amazing. You'll start seeing those. Other new units to be on the lookout for is Tempest, the air superiority, super ranged combatant. I haven't even seen carriers since I played this game. A lot of people bitch like, oh my god, I love carriers. Why would you take carriers out? And ever since the game came out, I haven't seen a damn single carrier. I don't even understand why people were complaining. I have yet to see a carrier. It's kind of funny. And they're still in here, but I don't see them. And Terran have a lot of nice new units. They have the Widow Mines, which you will see in some games. They're super damn annoying. I think they're a little OP when overused. They also have lost the Warhound, which is kind of nice because at the end there in the beta, Warhounds were just way too damn powerful. And they did get those Battle Hellions, which are really, really nice. Battle Hellions are very, very powerful. I don't know why more Terran don't utilize them, but they are nice for hit and runs, especially against Zerg. And Zerg getting those swarm hosts, ground superior tank unit, and also getting the Viper. Now, this is, I will say this, even though you're not seeing many new units, and even though I'm talking about the units, or if I do talk about the units, or if you even just have Heart of the Swarm in general, even though you're going to get comfortable with the units, I would say not to be. Because just like Wings of Liberty, this game is probably going to be tweaked a ton. It's only 2 weeks into release, and if you were there at the beginning of Wings of Liberty like I was, you know as well as I do just how many freaking changes happened to that game in the first couple months. So we are probably going to be expecting a lot of changes. Hopefully a lot to Zerg. I will say this, I do love Zerg a lot. I will go more into this, and when we finally do a podcast show, which I don't know, I remember if I touched base about at the beginning of the gameplay, but we are going to be trying to get a webcam show out, in which me, Stash Burnside, and Deathrate do talk about games on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. We will be talking about MMOs. Heart of the Swarm is going to be the big one in the first episode, and also as we get more authors for the site, we will be adding them as well into the show. But I will reiterate the fact that I feel like Zerg kind of got gypped on their expansion. I really want to see Vipers get an upgrade or kind of get a edit so that they kind of become more viable into the mid game. I think making them a hive tech is kind of stupid. I think they should be layer tech. I know hatchery tech, they're a little OP, but layer tech at least, or at least make them have their own building that they have to build or something like that. I think that Vipers just are so underutilized because they're so end game, and that is a big problem. And then Swarm hosts are really, really nice, but they can only attack ground now. I'm not saying that they have to attack air, but it would be nice to have again. But Zerg, really changing it up. Infestation pits are way more useful, and Protoss, like I said before, those Stargates are far more beneficial to you now because the Protoss air forces have ridiculous power. And a really good thing you're going to see is Protoss really just have kind of the adaptability that Terran once had, and kind of what I mean by that is just Terran kind of had a unit to cover all their bases. Protoss kind of do now, and Zerg really are kind of the only race left that really kind of needs that those benefits. They don't have them as much right now. We still are lacking early game anti-air, things like that. But we do have an update where we get spore crawlers off of the spawning pool, which is really, really different. So kind of nice. And like I said, I know I'm kind of just rambling on about upgrades, but this game is completely different. It's new. I'm going to be casting it a lot more. I hope you're going to be looking out for these casts as we try to get more of those new units incorporated. And also, I think Deathrate or Stash Prince, I don't remember which one, is going to be playing Terran for a while to try and get a grasp of Terran so that way we can talk about it in our first ever podcast. But that is it for this match. As you can see, the power of roaches and infestors, the power of just cheesing, and the newfound power of DTs as they're now cheaper. This is Token Gaijin, signing out.